In this presentation, I'll be discussing Green Monday South Africa, a campaign launched by the Humane Society International in 2015 to improve global meat reduction. Before I get into the details of the campaign, I'd like to share some background info about the Humane Society International, or HSI, as well as differences between South Africa, the host country of the campaign, and the United States, the home country. The HSI is the global affiliate of the Humane Society of the United States, or HSUS, which is the largest animal protection organization in the U.S., headquartered in Washington, D.C. Founded in 1954 by former members of the American Humane Society, the HSUS seeks to end suffering for all animals, fight animal cruelty, protect wildlife, and more. The HSUS gets nearly all of its funding from donations, membership dues, and grants. As a global affiliate, the HSI has offices in over 20 countries around the world. The South Africa office didn't open until 2016, which was actually a year after the launch of the Green Monday South Africa campaign. Comparing the host and home countries, through the perspective of Hofstede's cultural dimensions, it's clear that the key differences involve individualism and power distance. The U.S. in purple is far more individualistic than South Africa, which scores 65 on this scale, versus U.S. with its score of 91. It's important to note that a score of 65 still denotes South Africa as an individualist society, so people here are expected to focus on themselves and their immediate family. In the United States, this way of life is taken to another level as it's the highest scoring individualist country in the world. However, taking both countries' scores into account, it's clear that this campaign had to be adjusted to serve a target audience that's significantly less individualistic compared to what a target audience in the United States would look like. And I'll talk about this in more detail when I discuss the implementation of the campaign. Regarding power distance, South Africa scores a 49 compared to the U.S. with a score of 40. So in South Africa, centralization is popular and everyone has a place in the hierarchical order. Taking a look at more similar dimensions, we find that both South Africa and the United States are both masculine societies, scoring 63 and 62 respectively, meaning that both societies are driven by competition, accomplishment, and drive to be a winner. Now, uncertainty avoidance is another area in which both countries have similar scores. South Africa scores 49 and the United States scores 46, so both societies have low preference for avoiding uncertainty and exhibit overall relaxed attitude with flexible schedules and punctuality, not something that comes naturally. There's an 8-point difference between the two countries in the next dimension, long-term orientation. South Africa scored a 34 and the United States scored a 26. This means that South Africa is more normative than pragmatic. Its society values traditions and norms and approaches societal change with caution and skepticism. This type of society focuses on quick results with a fairly small tendency to save for the future. The United States, with an even lower score, is also a normative society that maintains time-honored traditions and approaches new information with thorough analysis, deeming whether or not it's accurate or credible. In the final dimension, indulgence, both countries scored pretty high, with South Africa scoring 63 and the United States scoring 68. This means that both countries have cultures of indulgence, giving in to impulses, spending money willingly, delighting in leisure and free time, and following the desire to just enjoy life and have fun. Now, what I find interesting about the country comparison tool using Hofstede's insights is that the scores for South Africa are for the white population of the country. So I'd be interested in seeing how the scores might differ if the Black African population were taken into account, because this group of people does make up the majority of the South African population. Before I move on to discussing the campaign, I'd like to quickly point out the major difference in population sizes between the host country and the home country. In 2015, at the time of the campaign, South Africa's population size was 55.29 million, and the United States population size was 321 million, so that's huge. I'd also like to mention that the formation of a democratic government in South Africa did not happen until about 25 years ago, in 1994. This ended some extreme ethnic separatism and racism. Since then, it's become a pretty popular destination for travelers because of its beautiful natural landscape and cultural diversity. 11 languages are spoken there to varying degrees in different regions. Now, moving on to the Green Monday South Africa campaign. It was launched on a Monday, October 12, 2015, and was formally inaugurated in Cape Town, South Africa, with a premiere video narrated by Natalie Becker, a popular South African actress. South Africa is one of the first countries where the HSI introduced the Green Monday concept. The goal of the campaign was to significantly increase the number of South Africans dedicated to contributing to global meat reduction, helping both people, animals, and the environment. The three key objectives were to increase awareness of the effects of meat consumption, to increase positive attitudes towards swapping animal products for greens, and to increase the number of people going green one day a week. Some current events that affected the campaign include meat consumption rates, animal cruelty, drought, and farm sizes. Around the time of the campaign, South Africa had the 8th highest consumption of poultry in the world, and it's still listed as one of the countries with the highest per capita meat consumption. So this is one of the reasons it was important to implement a meat reduction program here. The campaign also addressed animal cruelty, and in a Green Monday Q&A sheet, the HSI stated, more than 1 billion land animals were raised for food in South Africa in 2013 alone. More than 95% of egg-laying hens and more than 50% of pregnant sows spend nearly their entire lives in cages or crates, where they're unable to exercise, fully extend their limbs, or engage in many other important natural behaviors. Regarding drought, around the time of the campaign, South Africa was experiencing the worst drought the region had seen in over 30 years. So this affected the campaign because water pollution and water use are actually directly related to the animal agriculture sector. So when South Africans reduce their consumption of meat, eggs, and dairy by joining the Green Monday movement, they can lessen their water footprints. Lastly, regarding farm sizes, in 2015, South Africa's President Zuma announced plans to limit farm sizes. So, while this was an attempt to deal with the concentration of land ownership in the hands of a few people, mainly whites, this also affected the structure of the campaign, as it ties into animal welfare, water usage, etc. As I mentioned, the campaign was launched on October 12th, 2015. A press release was sent out a few days before to announce the upcoming Green Monday South Africa initiative, and today the movement continues to grow and evolve. The theme of the Green Monday campaign is global meat reduction from a fun and positive perspective. So instead of focusing on, what people miss out on when they reduce their meat consumption, the campaign illustrated the enjoyable aspects of the practice by telling people to turn their Blue Mondays green by swapping animal products with delicious plant-based alternatives. The campaign also illuminated the rewarding aspects of joining the Green Monday movement, improving not only your own health, but improving animal welfare too. Primary messages like stand up for animals when you sit down to eat were backed by secondary messages with statistics, and this added support and credibility to key messages. To attract audience attention, the campaign was physically launched with a media event at a restaurant participating in Green Monday. Along with press releases at this launch, the media got tote bags with the Green Monday South Africa logo on them, as well as branded bamboo and Green Monday themed USB drives and plant-based recipes to try. The campaign also capitalized on observance days and annual events. So for Earth Day, Green Monday memes were created to post on social media with the hashtag GreenMondaySA. The memes involved brightly colored fruit and vegetable graphics with funny, catchy phrases. Regarding media and channels used for this campaign, the HSI created a website, and it also used Facebook, Vimeo, Twitter, and Instagram. As I mentioned, the movement is still ongoing, so while the Facebook and website are still up, including the use of the hashtag GreenMondaySA, Twitter and Instagram are no longer in use for the campaign. This is the Facebook page, which as of right now has over 5,000 likes. Implementation. Okay, so this campaign had a very comprehensive approach to implementing the Green Monday initiative throughout South Africa. Looking at the media kit for the campaign as well as promotional materials, Green Monday had press releases, backgrounders, Q&As, posters, an explainer or flyer, and Green Monday table talkers. And recall that memes were also created to pair with key messages spread throughout social media. The biggest online resource, however, was the Green Monday South Africa website, which was huge for connecting with audiences. In fact, most of the promotional items led people to this website, which had recipes, more information, the promotional video, opportunities to get involved in the campaign events and projects, and even a page where visitors could sign a pledge to go green on Mondays. All in all, the campaign was highly successful, and it's actually still going strong today, which illustrates the success of the campaign. The Humane Society International achieved its objectives by getting major universities, schools, government departments, and influencers to join the movement and implement the Green Monday South Africa program. For instance, 3 major universities in South Africa adopted the HSI's Green Monday program as well as a private school. Additionally, the Western Cape government's Department of Health implemented the program as part of its WOW Western Cape on Wellness program, which advocates eating more plant-based foods in communities and health and wellness programs. Additionally, the HSI partnered with other plant-based organizations helping to further communicate the message. Because many chefs, celebrities, influencers, and restaurant chains have joined the movement, a lot of citizens have joined the movement too. And Green Monday South Africa is a step toward healthier people, animals, and in turn, the environment. Okay, the circuit of culture. So it's in the moment of regulation that meetings come to be, and they delineate what's acceptable and correct. The moment of regulation is present throughout the entire campaign, but it's primarily present in the planning stages of the campaign, especially because the home country is so different from the host country so far as government and legal systems. Luckily, according to the Freedom House report on South Africa, the South African Constitution provides for freedom of the press and other media, freedom of information, and freedom of expression, among other guarantees. It also includes constraints on propaganda for war, incitement of imminent violence, or advocacy of hatred that is based on race, ethnicity, gender, or religion, and that constitutes incitement to cause harm. The Freedom House Democracy Index ranks South Africa as free, but its total score is 27 out of 100, which is pretty low. Still, there were not too many obstacles in the planning or execution of this campaign, given that there's a respect for freedom of expression in South Africa. Representation. Okay, now the moment of representation involves defining target audiences, crafting primary messages, and choosing appropriate channels of communication in order to convey a unified image of the Green Monday South Africa campaign as it relates to the HSI as an animal welfare organization. From the key messages of the campaign to the promotional materials and online resources, this campaign represented the Green Monday movement as a way to become an animal and environment ambassador, all while becoming a healthier you. I think the messaging strategy used in this campaign illustrates the moment of representation quite nicely. For example, if you think of one of the key messages, stand up for animals when you sit down to eat, it's clear that the creators of the campaign are saying, hey, when you join the Green Monday movement, you join us at the HSI as protectors of animals. And quickly recall that the target audiences for this campaign were local governments, schools, private companies, and individual South African citizens. Okay, identity. As we know, PR practitioners often begin campaigns by segmenting, creating identities for target audiences, and people create their own identities too as active meaning constructors. If you search the hashtag Green Monday essay on Twitter, you'll see that one Twitter user celebrated Green Monday with cupcakes iced with green frosting. So while the creators of the Green Monday South Africa campaign clearly intended to promote healthy eating as one aspect of the program, some people will simply take a campaign message and turn it into something else in terms of what it means to be a Green Monday adopter, whether it's through eating healthy plant-based meals or through eating sugary cupcakes that are, yes, meatless. Production. So production is the moment in the circuit of culture that ties into the implementation part of the campaign. Now, although this campaign did use more traditional promotional elements like posters, flyers, and events, it was also heavily promoted online and through social media. As we know, the availability of technology is critical in this moment in the circuit of culture because what's produced is dependent on this factor. For more insight, I again referenced the Freedom House report on South Africa, which tells me about the country's freedom status, its people's political rights and civil liberties, but also about technological factors like internet access. According to the report, South Africa's digital media environment is basically free and open, and people are free to express opinions and ideas online, resulting in a diverse and active online environment. Internet penetration has expanded rapidly over the years, but it's believed that the expansion hasn't really kept up with development. And access to internet is another problem. Just a year before the launch of the Green Monday South Africa campaign, only 10% of the South African households had access to internet at home, as stated in the Freedom House report. Interestingly, while the government doesn't have direct control over the country's connection to the international internet, the government has shown a willingness to regulate access during certain events, which happened in February 2015 before one of President Zuma's speeches. Okay, consumption is another moment where we really see target publics bringing the messages of the campaign into their everyday lives in their own various ways. For example, with this campaign, target publics were primarily encouraged to eat green on Mondays. Although some promotional material said to eat green once a week, the theme of the campaign focused on choosing Monday to eat green. But some people chose to eat green on a different day of the week, adapting the call to action to fit their lifestyle. The moment of consumption is also visible in people's social media activity, which illustrates how people would go green through different recipes, different food choices, etc. Overall, the Green Monday South Africa campaign was well thought out and effective. The creators took a comprehensive, culturally sensitive approach to the campaign, and the goal and objectives were met. The messages were well received, and the environment is healthier because of the campaign. As I mentioned earlier, I think the Green Monday South Africa campaign covered all the bases of a successful campaign with excellent promotional materials, quality social media content, and relevant messages. But one thing I would have done with this campaign is incorporate a contest and giveaway. This would drive engagement and get people even more excited about the Green Monday movement. What can be learned from this campaign is that not all public relations initiatives are bound to timelines. Sometimes, if a campaign is especially powerful, people will take its messages to heart and continue to keep a movement alive. And that's what happened here. The fact that the Green Monday movement is still going strong speaks of the campaign's success and ongoing impact. Thank you.